All right, welcome to Abundance Coaching TV. And I'm happy that you're here today because today I'm talking about a topic that isn't talked about that much. Once again, my name is Scott Epp and I'm the host of Abundance Coaching TV. If you haven't been here before, welcome. This is a great space to come to. Every Wednesday, we actually come together and we talk about important topics. And essentially, life coaching, this is Life Coaching TV that makes a difference. So our goal with Abundance Coaching TV is to really add value to you as the viewer. Add value in ways through coaching, through tools, through having exceptional guests that have incredible stories and also have great tools, feedback, and information that you really need to know on topics that really span under the general topic of living with passion and having abundance in life. So really, where in your life do you want to have more passion? Where do you want to have more abundance? And of course, there's so many other things that you probably want to have in your life. Well, this is the place that you need to come to, and for sure check out our replays. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you can just put your name and email address in the form just beside me here, and you'll immediately receive updates on when our next Abundance Coaching TV episodes are, who our special guests are, and of course the topics that we'll be discussing. We're here to really significantly add value to your life, and our intention is to provide this as a free show for you in order to do that. Today's episode is going to be really special, and I'll tell you why. Over the last few weeks, I have had the opportunity to talk to a lot of people, and one of the main themes that I have heard when I've listened to these people is that life isn't all easy. And in fact, a lot of life is downright hard. The topic for today is the 5 secret strategies that will get you unstuck from anything in your life. What are you unstuck, or what do you need to get unstuck with in your life? Now, this is a broad question, I know. But I'm sure that there's an area of your life that you really feel like you could get unstuck with. It could be in your finances, could be in your health, your relationships, your marriage, family. There's a lot of areas of your life. And really, at the heart of it, what do you need to get unstuck with? So here's really where the punches come flying, okay? When talking to a lot of my clients and a lot of people that I know and that are close to me, the question often comes up, it's like, hey, how do I just even survive? How do I get through whatever I'm getting through? How do I even have joy in the midst of this hardship? How do I get unstuck? How do I find my direction? How do I find my purpose? They're really striving, they're searching, and it feels like there's just a spot inside their life where it's just really hard. And you know, because I care, I listen in, I listen deeply to these people's stories, and I want to appreciate where they're coming from and also acknowledge that I've been at those places too. Now, everybody's story is different. In our show, we talk a lot about stories. So my story and how I relate to somebody is going to be different than your story and how you might relate to somebody else. But in some of my stories that I share and that are really important to me, I can tell you that life isn't always sunshine and rainbows. And sometimes it's like what Rocky says, the world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a mean and nasty place. And I don't care how tough you are, it'll beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't matter. It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. So I watched that video clip again today because it's one of my favorite movies. It's a great movie. Rocky Balboa, made in 2006. And you might say whatever you want to say about Sylvester Stallone not being able to act, but that was one of the greatest clips of all time, in my opinion, when he was talking to his son, because really his son was justifying this big shadow of his father. And his father was of course, this legend boxer, and he was going to go in the ring because he really just wanted to fight another fight, and he had an opportunity to get in the ring and do an exhibition match against the current heavyweight champion of the world, and he chose that he was going to do it. And the lesson that he taught his son in that moment really was that, hey, listen, you know, son, life ain't just all sunshine and rainbows, and you're going to get hit, and you know what? You can stay there permanently if you really let life keep you there permanently. But you know, what can you do to get up? What can you do to move forward? And you know what? Life ain't always fair. Life and the circumstances of life aren't always fair. There's going to be times when you're going to feel like you're stuck on the ground. Now, here's the message for you. If you feel today that you're stuck on the ground and that this is exactly something that's resonant with you today, then take what you need to take and leave the rest. If you feel that maybe, you know, you're not at that place, things are really hunky-dory, things are really abundant, things are really peaceful, things are really good, which goes along with a lot of the themes that you're going to hear, there's going to be a day where you're going to feel like you're going to need this message, okay? There's going to be a day when you're going to feel like life has beat you down to your knees and that you are stuck there, that you're stuck in that kind of place, okay? And when that day comes, you're going to have to ask yourself a big, fat question. When you feel like life beats you to your knees and you're sitting there in pain, shame, hurt, frustration, or whatever you're sitting there in, what are you going to do? That is the question. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit there in your shame, frustration, pain, all that stuff? Or are you going to get up and know that you're in the ring? Because I promise you, if you're in the ring, you're doing something right. A lot of people out there, they're spectators to the sport. If you're in the ring, there's no question about it. You are in the ring, you're going to take the hits. Now, you can say whatever you want to say about the hits. Ted McGrath was on our show. We talked a little bit about this clip. What he said is that hits, you know what, they're disguised as obstacles, really. And those obstacles really are there to build you up, and they're really opportunities in disguise, okay? So when you take those hits, what does that mean? That means that you're in the ring. You're not going to take any hits when you're not in the ring. You're just going to sit out there and you're going to be a sideliner. But listen, whatever it is that you're going through that's so hard, that's hit you down to the ground, acknowledge the fact that, hey, at least I'm in the game today. At least I'm in the ring. Okay? Now, when you get back up, it doesn't mean that you just like go forward and you're out there just like, hey, again. No. That means that you're learning from the hits. You're learning from your past mistake. You're learning from the next thing. You're moving forward. You're charging forward. All of that. No question about it. In fact, you're learning because you need to learn. You need to survive. You need to thrive. And in order to do that, in order to win a boxing match, you need to be able to know when you have to take a hit, because sometimes when you're in a boxing match, you actually strategically take a hit because you have a counter hit coming back the other way. And if you're stuck in the corner in a boxing match, and you're stuck, and the rings are right here, and you're stuck in the corner, and you're taking the hits, you better as heck do whatever you can do to fight your way out of that corner, because you stay in that corner, you're going to definitely get knocked back down to the ground. And you're going to learn. But hey, listen, take it for what it's worth. When you're stuck and life hits you down to your knees, and you feel shame, you feel doubt, you feel whatever you feel, the frustration, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Now, you know what? I just sent out a newsletter, and some of you are on my newsletter, and one of the things that I said in the newsletter at the very end is that if you're on your knees, maybe that's the right time to start thinking about what you should be praying for. Because if life has hit you down that far, what else do you have to go for? And when you're down there, maybe it's that you want to find that trust again, or you want to find that ability within yourself to actually have that determination to move forward, to have momentum, to actually gain progress, whatever it is. And it's not all you, that there's something higher than you. There's God that can come through you and help you get back up, because you may feel like you're too weak to get back up. You might be saying, hey, Scott, I get that. I feel like I'm too weak. I feel like I'm too, stuck in this place. It's like, how do I get back up? Who do I have to go ask? You might feel that way. And I just want to come around you and just comfort you in this moment, because if you feel that way, you know, help is there. And there's somebody that's willing to help. I believe that there's good in this world. People are willing to help. But God is willing to help too. So when you're in that place and you're on your knees, I encourage you. Take that time. Don't just let time pass. But get back up. Keep on moving forward, because that's how winning is done. And I promise you, at the end of your life, when you're about to take your last breath, when you start thinking about your life, you're going to start thinking about those moments when you decided that you were going to get back up again and start moving forward. Or when you decided that you were going to stay on your knees because life hit you real hard. And that's a big time challenge. So hey, who am I to say all this stuff? Who am I? I've been there. I've done the stay on the ground real long thing. Hey, you know, one time I was back in Toronto. I was living in Toronto. I live in Saskatoon now. I just got married, and I always was into athletics. But when I was living out there in Toronto, I went to Walmart one day, and I pulled out a weight scale because I knew that I was gaining some weight. And I weighed myself. I was 236 pounds. Now, I was used to 185, 190. So 236, that was a lot of weight for me. And I didn't believe this scale. So I went and I pulled out another scale. I stood on it. I didn't believe that scale. So the next time I pulled off the wrapping off the third one, put it on the ground. I took my shoes off, and then I stood on it. 236. Then I got the electronic one. I turned it on. Same thing. Hey man, for me, that was a big deal, because I always took pride in how physical I was. Now, I'm not saying that getting married was the reason why I gained a whole bunch of weight, but when I moved to Toronto, I didn't do my sports. I wasn't looking after myself. I was just eating buckets and buckets of candy. I wasn't caring about myself. For the first time in my life, I was stuck in a rut because I didn't have a job. And I was just like living at home and trying to look for work. And I always had a job. I always was owning businesses and doing stuff and working hard. So for me, I was down at that place where that was me being down on my knees, because I was like, oh man, I'm way overweight. I don't have a job. I'm stuck, and I need to do something about it. So listen, wherever you are at in your life right now, whatever you need, listen for the next 40 minutes, because I'm going to share the 5 secret strategies that will get you unstuck from anything in your life. Anything. And why do you want to get unstuck? I can list it. Because you want to live with passion. You want to have abundance in your life. You want to figure out how to live on purpose and with purpose. And you want to win. You want to win in life. Okay? So we're just going to turn our camera away from where we're at right now. And I have a blackboard up here. And I'm just going to get my audio video tech Adam to help me with setting up our little camera setup. And we're going to talk about the 5 secret strategies that will get you unstuck. So just bear with us as we talk about these 5 secret strategies. And you can turn the big camera over there too, man, if you don't mind. That's great. All right. Perfect. Cool. So these are the 5 secret strategies that will help you get unstuck from anything in your life. And the reason why you need to get unstuck from anything, of course, is for the reasons that I just shared with you. That you want to have passion, you want to have abundance, you want to figure out your life, you want to get direction, you want to have purpose, and you want to win at life. You don't want to be stuck on your knees. You don't want to be in that place, right? You don't want to be just grounded, because as Rocky said, life can hit you, and it can hit you so hard and get you to your knees, and it'll keep you there permanently if you let it. So if you let it, it will do that. If you do nothing, then you will permanently be stuck down on your knees. So you need to get unstuck, okay? You need to move forward. So those are the reasons why you need to do that. Now listen, here's what the strategies are, okay? The first strategy, and I call them a secret strategy, partly because the word secret's a buzzword. But listen, not many people that I know of ever talk about anything powerful like this. So I'll call it secret. It's a secret strategy. The first one is discover yourself early and often. Okay? So I'm just going to use my whiteboard here and help us with this analogy. So number one, discover yourself early and often. So ask yourself a question as I'm writing this down. What does it mean to discover yourself? And what does it mean to discover yourself early and often? Well, let's go into that. Let's dive into that. Discovering yourself early and often, okay? So what does that mean to you? Well, first of all, it's figuring out where you are. It's getting awareness with where you are and where you're actually at. So part of this is reflective. Part of this is actually getting centered. And one of the things that I've been trained to do that I think works really well from my coach, Ted, and he trained me to do something called getting to your best self. So what you can do is this. You can just close your eyes just for a moment. And even as you're watching this episode, just close your eyes. Now just imagine a peaceful place, wherever it is. Imagine a place that you really just enjoy, a place that potentially has some happiness around it. Could be a beach, it could be a scene, could be a meadow, it could be your backyard. Imagine that nobody else is around. And as your eyes are closed and you're taking in the environment and you feel the wind in the environment, you feel the sounds, you hear the sounds, and you look and you see coming towards you is your best self. And it's your best version of who you are. And as you see your best self walking towards you, you admire your best self and how your best self looks, how your best self smiles, the appearance, just what radiates the energy around them. And you ask your best self this one question. How do you discover yourself early and often? And now just wait as your best self tells you. I can share with you what I just experienced. My best self told me that you discover yourself early and often when you're doing what you absolutely love. Which is actually what I'm doing right now. I love this. I love communicating and serving you. But for you, what was it for you? What did your best self tell you? If you're around a piece of paper and a pen, I'd encourage you right now to write that down, to figure that out. Figure out what your best self told you and write it down. So going deeper into discovering yourself early and often and getting awareness, what this also is figuring out who you are and what your why is, what your real pathway is in life. Now, listen, I know that we get bombarded in life by circumstances. We get hit down by circumstances, and some of it's our fault, some of it's life, and all these other things. And I encourage you now to try to just like filter all that stuff away for a moment so that you can take in what I'm going to say next, okay? So, have you done that? Just filter away all of the things that are not important and not essential, that are just like bombarding you, okay? It's like part of figuring out and discovering yourself early and often is figuring out what your why is, what your real driving force is, okay? So I'm going to just be real short here because I do a real long process of helping people figure out what their why is. But listen, it's one of the most important things that you will ever do in your life. Okay? Figure out what your why is. Okay? So I actually teach it in 3 parts. I'm going to share with you the first part, and I'm going to be more brief than I normally am when I teach this. So here we go. So the first part is you need to figure out what your why is. So you need to look at what motivations you have. Okay? So what motivates you? So ask yourself, what motivates me? What actually gets me going? What's exciting about life? What's exciting about where I'm going, what I'm doing, etc. Okay? So ask yourself that. You can come back to this replay at any time, but write that down. And if there's something that comes up for you right in this moment, write it down. What motivates you? Okay? The next thing is passions. And I'm going to just do it the way that I do it. Passion. Man, without passion, what do you have? My body speaks and I radiate conviction because of passion. I love doing what I'm doing right now because I'm coaching, even though I know that you're out there in virtual land, and if you're watching the replay, I could have made this video 2 years ago, and I'm speaking forth passion so that you gravitate towards it because you need to have passion. Without passion, you're going to be dry. Okay? So you need to actually have passion in order to get to the next steps. In order to actually really figure out what your why is, you need to be passionate about it. Have something that actually gets you going. Now this is really helpful as well with a career or something like that. But listen, let's take it to actually mean that this is like your why in life, okay, for this point. All right, so take a look at your passions. Obstacles. I'll do that next. Obstacles. So when you get your motivations and you get your passions down, you need to take a look at your obstacles. So what the heck kind of obstacles are holding you back? What obstacles are actually driving you back? What obstacles are holding you back from your true potential? What is it that's really holding you back? Because when you find a way to overcome and achieve and get over those obstacles, there's incredible value for you. There's incredible benefit for you because you're choosing to go forward. You're choosing to move forward, okay? So take a look at the obstacles. Take a look at what those obstacles mean. And sometimes if it's, you know, I want to be a nurse, that means you've got to go to school for that, okay? If you're having problems with relationships right now, then your obstacles could be numerous. It could be restoring relationships. It could be advancing yourself socially. It could be reading more books or doing something else. It could be giving more space, having more space to actually trust. It could be more spiritual in your life, okay? But listen, obstacles are all over the place. And just like what we talked about at the very beginning with getting knocked down to the ground, hey, listen, obstacles are kind of like those hits, right? We're going to have to dodge them, block them, and sometimes they're going to hit us. But listen, the hits are not meant to stop you. The hits are meant to help you learn and grow and help you get back up and start moving forward again, okay? So listen, obstacles are a big deal. They're a big part of it, but they're not the be-all, end-all, okay? The next part is commitments. Okay, listen, commitments are an overarching thing. Once again, when I coach about commitments, it's way more broad than this. But take this to mean one thing, okay? When I look at commitments, I look at it like an umbrella, and the umbrella is meant to do what? It's a covering over. So if it's raining or if it's snowing or if there's sleet or whatever it is, you're holding on to the handle of it because that handle is what powers the umbrella to protect you, to cover over you, right? Okay, so you want to have a firm grip on that handle. How do you do that? Well, imagine if you have that umbrella, you have the handle on the one side of the umbrella, have a column, and it's underneath the protection of the umbrella, and in that column is this question: what are you committed to? Then you need to write down all of the things that you're committed to. Hey, listen, there's things that you're committed to that probably are outside of your wheelbox, that you're probably overcommitted to. And we could look at this and expand this till whoever knows. But suffice it to say that there are things that are in your wheelhouse that perhaps you need to commit to. Now listen, other parts of your life you may be overcommitting to that you need to switch down or switch off. There might be negative habits that you're committed to. And listen, it might not be that you're saying, hey, I'm committed to this, but your actions are telling the truth, right? So if you are overcommitted to one thing that's not necessarily beneficial to you, take a look at that in your life. And right now, for anybody out there that's watching this, and I know people have watched this and commented about how they've had addiction problems and habit problems and things like that, if that's you, then take a look at how you're committed to those type of things. All right? The next question you ask yourself is, what do I want to be committed to? Okay, so remember the umbrella, the handle underneath this side. What am I committed to? And then what do I want to be committed to? Write a list. Take time, do that list. Okay? On the other side of the umbrella, right underneath this part of it, you need to go through and do the next thing. And what is the next thing? Hey, listen, this is a real cool and a very important part of commitments. The next thing is, how committed are you? Are you stepping in? And if you aren't, why not? And perhaps it's actually a good example. If you're not, well then maybe there's an underlying belief, or perhaps there's something that's holding you back, or you just don't even want to think about it. One thing that happens with coaching sometimes is that people say they want a certain thing, they want a certain destination, but their actions don't measure up. And their actions will never measure up until they get committed. It's one of the reasons why people don't follow through with their New Year's resolutions, because they're never committed to it in the first place. So, commitments. The last part of your why. And once again, if you want coaching on this, you want to do anything further, go to abundancecoaching.ca, click the complimentary coaching session button. I'll do a complimentary session with you. We can go over your why, we can figure some of this stuff out, and we can dig deeper with coaching, okay? I know that I'm going fast on this, and I'm not even touching the surface of what your why can mean, but we're doing something, okay? You're figuring something out, and this is very important for you to know. The next part of it is legacy and purpose. Your why needs to be attached to legacy at all times. Why? Because every step that you're taking is leaving an imprint. And if you're 50, if you're 60, or even if you're 30, you are leaving a legacy. However old you are leaving something behind for a future generation, for your children, for those around you, and really for the world. This means economically, this means environmentally, this means physically, this means relationship-wise, this means with your physical health. All of these things will contribute to the message that you actually have. Now, I'd imagine that you want to leave an amazing legacy, right? I'd imagine. And if it's true that you want to leave that amazing legacy, then start today and look at your life and look at your why and look at how it affects your legacy. Because you are touching people's lives whether or not you know it today. And your attitude and how you get back up and how you move forward is touching lives, and it's helping you leave that legacy. Now listen, if you're not leaving a legacy, or you don't think that you're leaving a legacy, you still are. You may just be leaving a negative one. Now that's a bit of a harsh reality. But once again, these are the 5 secret strategies that will help you get unstuck from anything in your life. If you want to get unstuck, you figure out what your why is, and you know that your why is attached to leaving a legacy. There's much more to know about getting aware of where you are and discovering yourself early and often, which is the first key. Another part of discovering yourself early and often is identifying the blind spots and identifying the areas that you've gotten in trouble in the past. Now, if it's a habit that you know that you have identified, then it's controlling the environments that you go into. If lust is a big problem for you, you may have to control the environment of your computer and your space, maybe even at night. Or it could be even an establishment that you go to that causes you to stumble or to go somewhere else. It could be 1,000 things. If it's alcohol that's a problem, you may need to take a look at your environments that way. If you continually get yourself caught up in a routine and it's a cycle of life and you just go through the routine of just living day by day, then you need to take a look at the environments that are contributing to that. There's a whole bunch of things that we could talk about with environments and with getting aware. But suffice this point to say that when you take a look at life and you see yourself in the future and you see what you can be to overcome things and how you can actually thwart the danger points, you win. It's kind of like antivirus. The job of an antivirus isn't necessarily to remove a virus from your computer. The job of an antivirus is to protect you from actually getting it in the first place. So it doesn't mean that when you do fail up and you get knocked down to your knees or something else happens that there's not a solution for you and there's not hope for you. Of course there is. There's grace, there's hope, there's abundance for you, no question, okay? And I don't want to be flippant about that point. However, when you discover yourself early and often, you definitely have a key to winning at life because you won't get as stuck and you will be able to get back up faster because you're not going to be at that place of absolute shame or frustration or whatever it could be. Understand your limitations, understand your abundance, understand your beliefs, understand your values. All of these things help with discovering yourself early and often. And we could talk about values. We could talk about what's most important to you because values play a significant part with this point. So one thing that you can do just for values is simply just like write down the question, what matters the most to me? And when you write down that question, what matters the most to me, then just write down the answers of what you feel that is. Once again, if you want to have additional coaching on that, I have a whole process that helps you figure out what your actual core values are and then how to move forward. You can sign up for a complimentary session or email me and I'll help you forward with that. But listen, the values that you have contribute to the decisions that you make. So knowing what your values are definitely helps. Knowing what your beliefs are certainly helps. And getting clear on that and discovering yourself early and often certainly helps too. Okay? So I'm going to go over the second key. The second key to getting unstuck with anything in your life so that you can live with passion, have abundance, discover your purpose, and win at life is living with balance and gaining momentum. What does it mean to live with balance to you? So if you're living with balance and you're gaining momentum, what does that mean? What does that look like to you? Well, I'm going to just read something that I've outlined in one of my programs here. Once you've started building life balance, your goal is to gain momentum. You find balance in all areas of your life and let them start to wash over you as you focus on what matters and reach your most important goals. So I'll repeat that, it's really powerful. Once you've started building life balance, your goal is to gain momentum. You find balance in all areas of your life and let them start to wash over you as you focus on what matters and reach your most important goals. How would that be to focus on what matters so that you can reach your most important goals? A lot of people struggle with that one. So what does balance mean to you? That was the question I asked at the beginning. Well, one of the tools that I use is the Abundance Life Wheel, and I think that it's a fantastic tool because it helps you charge and score your life in 14 important areas. And those areas rate from your health and well-being and all the way through to God's spiritual, marriage and intimacy, your physical environments, giving back, friends, relationships, even vacation. Like this thing covers essentially all of the components of your life. And when you get a snapshot picture of where you are and you take a look at it and you see it, it's kind of like a wheel. Well, it is a wheel. But when you're looking at your balance, you'll also see, as you visibly see your wheel, how unbalanced it is. Now, if you haven't played this game already, you can. All you have to do is go to www.abundancelifewheel.com. abundancelifewheel.com. I'll just write it down. But what does balance mean to you? Well, to me, having balance is a holistic thing. Having balance is appreciating all the different aspects of my life. And it's about having health and having wellness. It's about having all of the areas of my life, even the areas that I may find deficient, and raising those areas up so that I can have a more complete life. And it's about lifestyle for me. Balance is also about happiness for me. What is it to you? It's a bit of an individual question. Some things are the same for a lot of people, and some things are different. You may find that if you're stuck right now, that balance is a big issue for you because you're focused solely on one thing. However, what happens when you're focused solely on one thing is that you become tunnel visioned. You just see that one aspect of your life. I see this all the time in coaching. People come to me for one thing. I have a client, he's a business owner, he came to me for one thing. And it turned out that it was something else that we really were coaching on, or a number of other things that we really ended up coaching on. It was the one thing that he thought that he really wanted, but it was other things. And when we dug deeper into his relationship and what he's doing and what he wants, the doorways of opportunities started to open up. And the gateway possibilities started to open up for him. One of the common things that I find when I do your life wheel score is that people neglect a certain area of their life, and oftentimes it's an area like giving back. They stop giving back, and that's one of the negatives that I have to share with that. So, living with balance and gaining momentum. What does it mean to gain momentum? When you gain momentum, you all of a sudden have something to really look forward to. Because when you gain momentum, it's like one thing compounds on the other thing, and you start charging forward, and it's like that hockey game that you're watching. All of a sudden, you're down 2-0. The guys come out and they score a goal. And it's like 3 minutes left. And they have the pressure on, and they have the fans behind them, and they've got momentum. And you can see how momentum can flip from one team to another. Sometimes what teams will do is they'll try to stop the momentum by sending their bruiser out there to go start a fight. But the momentum push actually translates into something, right? It translates into goals. It translates into winning. You see momentum time and time again in sports. It happens like that in life too. One of the things that you will identify in people that are winning, that are unstuck, right? Because that's the whole point of this whole talk. People are unstuck. What they do is they raise themselves up to a place of knowing that one action compounds to another action. So if you feel stuck right now, you need to act. That's the first thing that you need to do. You need to do some little action. If that means you scribble something down, then you need to act. If you're in business right now and you're not succeeding, you're not making the phone calls, if that's your job, then you just need to make a phone call. You just need to take one action, even if you get a no, and then take another action, and then take another action. You will stay stuck longer with inaction. And momentum cannot build with inaction. It's not a principle that works. So if you want to live with the principle of momentum, then you need to know that you can do it, first of all, and that hope is coming, and that when you act, it will help you gain those steps, gain momentum. I love this principle. But balance and momentum, I think, go hand in hand. That's why in the Abundance Life Wheel game, in the second and third phase, we talk all about balance and momentum. There's more that can go along with this. With balance, it's okay to be out of balance for a short period of time if you're aware, if you're following principle number 1. The first strategy is what? Discover yourself early and often. So if you're following the first strategy of discovering yourself early and often, and you know why you're out of balance, that's okay for a small period of time. However, if you neglect for a big picture, for a big period of time, balance and momentum will go out the window, because you'll think that you're gaining momentum in one area, say it's business or finance, but your life will be falling to pieces in other areas. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to expend all this energy and effort in all the different areas of your life and you're going to stress your body out and stress everything out. It just means that you're looking, you're aware, you're checking in with yourself. You know what's happening with other areas of your life. So you have holistically, I don't even know if that's a word, you have a holistic life that is also spurred by consistency and momentum. The third strategy to help you get unstuck with anything in your life so that you can live with more passion, have more abundance, find your purpose, and win at life is building overflow. Wait, that's the fourth one. It's discovering areas of trouble. Discovering areas of trouble. Now this is the unfun one. You might think that this is the unfun one. I'll tell you why. Discovering areas of trouble. Well, what areas are there? You might think. When you discover areas of trouble, you're doing a few things. The first thing that you're doing is you're actually taking a deep look into your life. And you're being real honest with yourself. Because socially, you might be falling short. Because relationally, you might have been choosing the wrong strategy or the wrong tactic. Because spiritually, there might be an offage somewhere where you think that you have all the answers, but really you don't. Maybe you need to trust, and you have issues with that. Perhaps boundaries are your issue, and you really know that deep down because people are walking all over you. It could be that in your work and your finances, you're not achieving the levels of success that you really want, but you're not asking yourself good questions. You're not getting into the right support networks, and you're giving up maybe too early. Once again, you're staying back on your knees instead of getting back up and moving forward. There's so many different ways to look at this, but right now, if you have your pen and paper handy, I want you to write down one way. What's one area that you know is in trouble right now in your life? Now, if you're not coming up with one right away, there is one. Could be pride then. Now, there could be a number of them. Now, just so you know, when we're looking at discovering areas of trouble, this is not a guilt trip. This is not a laundry list of all the things that I'm not good enough for. We get enough of that crap. This is getting aware and discovering. And sometimes you need to dig deep in order to discover. Here's what I write in just a small piece in my program. Once you played your Abundance Life Wheel game, you'll see where you are. You'll also see and be able to see the problem areas that are in your life and what it takes to improve upon them one at a time. This can be very powerful. When you find that your life is lacking in one area and you focus on it, you'll be able to grow as a person, and that growth will develop your abundance and happiness in all areas. So if there's an area of your life that you really need to discover and advance yourself in, and if you choose to actually put the steps necessary in to advance that area of your life, you will have so many benefits that you'll reap. It will help you get unstuck in life. If you are, for instance, in a foreign country and one of the stuck areas for you is communication, if your area of trouble that you've discovered is that you cannot communicate with your neighbor or your person that you want to buy from, or just even have a relationship, and you start learning that language, even if it's outside your sweet spot and you don't want to do it, and you put the time in and effort in, and you put the energy into it, and just push forward for it, and you all of a sudden start communicating, and you start understanding what people are saying, you are gonna reap the rewards for it. So whatever it is right now that's causing you to have that feeling of I'm stuck, or I'm down on my knees right now and I don't know which way to turn, discover that area. And by the way, it could be multiple areas. And then start working forward. Because you are going to reap the rewards. You're going to have more happiness for it. And sometimes in our journey, we can't control what other people think. I want to put that out there. And we want to control that outcome. And that's one of the hardest things that we can ever accept. But we can always work on ourselves. We can always choose to discover the area that we need to work on and start working on that area. Because when you do, you will succeed in so many ways. You may see things the same way as I do, but I'm going to say something now that's pretty bold. We live in a society that's an entertainment society, and you may just be living online default today. We live in a society that just wants what it wants, and you may be living online default today. We live in a society that only looks inward and has pride, and you may be living online default today. When you discover areas of trouble, you're looking outside yourself. Even though you're actually working on yourself and you're building yourself up, you're doing self-care and you're working on those areas, you're looking outside of yourself, because what you do for yourself actually builds into other people. It builds into so many aspects that you may not see today. And when it's painful to go and work on those areas, know that it's worth it. Know that the hope is coming, and know that you can get through it, because you are destined for great things, and you weren't just created as junk, you were created as someone that's amazing. And maybe you're not telling yourself that you're amazing enough, but you are created as amazing, and that you can push through, you can have that abundance that you desire to have in life. And it's going to take working through the areas of trouble in order to have that. And how it ends up looking, I can't promise. But you will reap benefits, and you will get unstuck if you look at this and consider it and also put action towards it. All right, the fourth strategy. It's a secret strategy, but I kind of blew the secret just moments ago by telling you it in advance. The fourth strategy for getting unstuck with anything in your life is building in overflow. Building overflow. All right. Overflow is amazing. Overflow is awesome. Overflow is like abundance in its true essence. When overflow is happening, then things are spilling over, and it's incredible. You know when overflow is happening, and you start to look at people, and when you see people's lives that have overflow in them, you start to look at them, and you want to put a magnifying glass on what they're doing, because it seems like everything that they touch turns to gold, or everything that they touch is amazing, or whatever it is. Now, usually it's not all amazing, but what you see is. Now, the people that have figured out how to win at life have developed in that strategy to overflow. And I can say for me, this is one strategy that I focus on all the time, and it helps me to win at life. It helps me to get over those momentary struggles and weaknesses that I go through, like you also do. And it helps me to move forward and move past that. Because when I know that I raise a different area of my life up, I know that there's overflow that happens in other areas. So if I look at my fitness and I get fresh and I go out there and I charge forward in fitness, I know that it's going to influence my lifestyle. It's going to influence my happiness. If I look at my health, if I look at my finances, If I go out there and get 3 more contracts and people are just loving what I'm doing, and also they're getting lots of value out of it, but I'm making money doing what I'm doing, I know that there's going to be overflow that's going to help me in other areas. For you, there's overflow that happens in so many different areas of your life. And God and spirituality, when you start connecting with God and you start really just charging forward and getting with the Word, if you follow Christ, and you start really just like digging deeper into your faith and praying and just having that supernatural knowledge and feeling inside of you, overflow is going to happen, not just in spiritual, it's going to happen in your other areas of your life. You're going to have more completeness. Now, even when the finances are maybe low, you're going to have more completeness there, right? But it doesn't mean you keep the finances low or you keep the spiritual low or whatever it is. That's back to point number 3, correct? We want to develop areas of trouble. So suffice this to say is when you play your Abundance Life Wheel game, abundancelifewheel.com, you will see different areas of your life. Now, if you take this challenge, my challenge that I put out there for my clients, and I'll put it out there for you, just go to abundancelifewheel.com. If you play the game one time, you're just going to get awareness. It's just going to be looking at strategy number 1. That's about it. If you choose to do it once a month for an entire year, this is what you're going to get. You're going to start to see patterns in your life, and you're also going to see the areas that you want to improve on, because when you print out your life wheel score, I have 3 lines that you have on your printout that you were challenged with to choose 3 categories of your life that you want to focus on in your life. So for me, my 3 categories are career and business, God and spirituality, and marriage and intimacy. So I have it right on top of my computer screen, and every single day I look at that and I say, okay, what am I doing today to advance myself in my career and my business? And I'm looking at the 3 ways that bring me closest to the money. I'm looking at building my strategies for my business for the long-term picture. I'm looking at the TV show, inviting new guests, things like that. My marriage and intimacy, I'm taking a look at my marriage and I'm spending quality time with my wife. I'm looking also at our family and what we're doing and where we're moving and what we're moving towards, and all of those aspects. And I take a look at God and spirituality, and I take a look at where I'm at God-wise and how I'm connecting with Him, how I'm inviting Him. And sometimes I just like stop everything that I'm doing just to get down on my knees, just to pray about whatever it is that's going on in my life, or pray for somebody else and intercede, even when it's not an opportune time. And I stop caring if somebody else is watching. I'm on my knees, and that's just how it looks. Maybe you need to do something like that too, because in every man's life, there's a point when he needs to choose whether or not he's going to do something radical. So are you going to do something radical? Are you going to change something major in your life? Are you going to change something so that you can have overflow? Or are you going to stay on line default like we talked about earlier? Overflow can happen in such a powerful way for you. If you raise one area up in your life and have it spill over in other areas, wouldn't that be amazing? What do you really want in life? What are you looking for? I think that people are looking for happiness, completeness, joy, figuring out where they are, what matters to them, who they are. People want those things. They want to discover how to be passionate about life. They want to discover how to have abundance. What do you want in your life? Are you even thinking about that? And if this is the first time somebody's challenged you with that, write down, what do I want? What do I want, Tim? What do I want, Roger? What do I want, Samantha? What do I want, Peter? Write your name down and fill in the blanks. What do I want, really? You can build overflow in your life. Now here's the negative. Overflow works up and overflow works down. If you raise areas up in your life, you're going to have spillage over. Other areas are going to raise up as well. If you don't do anything, things are going to go down real fast. Here's where things can really go up or really go down. Okay? I'm going to show where it can go up. There's the Titanic. And what happened when it hit the iceberg is it severed multiple compartments that were inside of the hull of the lifeboat, of the actual Titanic. Now, these partitions didn't go all the way up to the top, and this boat was apparently unsinkable. But what happened is that the water filled up and up and up until it started to overflow from one compartment to the next compartment to the next compartment to the next compartment until there was too much water in this ship that it had to break off and sink. If there's something that's fouling up your life right now, like integrity or hypocrisy or even pride, lust, shame, greed, envy, jealousy, even just neglect, a habit that's just really just you're not willing to surrender. The negative part is that you can't compartmentalize. It won't just stay over here. It won't just like fill this up because, oh, that'd be ideal. In the Titanic situation, then all the water would just stay in here because it would stay in there and it wouldn't be enough weight for it to sink the boat. But no, it overflowed into one area to the next area to the next area to the next area. You cannot compartmentalize integrity. You can't say, hey, listen, in my family, I have this set of rules and this type of integrity, and then I go to work and then I have this set of rules and I can get away with this type of thing. Or when it comes to my taxes and the government, I can get away with this kind of thing. You can't say, okay, well, you know, I have this type of relationship over here and this type of relationship over here. Listen, it's going to overflow in your life. I'm just being frank. I'm just being real. This is something for me too, that I know that because I'm here, I'm the teacher, that I'm held to a higher accountability because I'm teaching this stuff. So if you ever heard that I fouled up in a major way with integrity, it's going to actually sting you because you watched this episode and you saw me. So I'm putting myself on a stand right now. And I know that life isn't always going to be easy, and I'm also going to get hit. I'm going to be challenged. I'm going to be challenged in a way that you may not be because I'm choosing to be out here in the limelight. But whatever way you are challenged with, know that overflow works in a negative way. But it also works in that positive way, okay? So I'm going to erase this now. How does it work in the positive way? Once again, you work on different areas of your life by raising those areas up. If you have your life like this and you broke it apart with all the different categories of your life, and you had different areas like this, this is kind of what your life looked like, and you started raising this area up, then overflow happens over there because there's more over here than there is over there. And this one over here starts going like this and it's raised up, then overflow happens over here. And all of a sudden abundance is happening because abundance is like the waves of the ocean continually overflowing without ceasing. It's a great principle. Live with the principle of overflow. The fifth and final strategy, and we're almost done. This is a great one. The fifth and final strategy for getting unstuck with anything in your life so that you can live with passion, have abundance, and move forward in whatever you want in your life is this. Get accountable to a coach or mentor. Get accountable to a coach or mentor. Guys, you need guys in your life. Why? Because you need other guys that you can talk to deeply and actually talk about deep stuff, whether or not it's love, relationship stuff, sex stuff, whatever it is. Business people, you need business people in your life. Why? Because you need somebody that's gone ahead of you or that can coach you to actually do the right things, have the right strategies, look at things from a different perspective, to challenge you to think differently, to look at new possibilities, to exceed where your belief systems are and what you actually are doing today so that you can have a thriving, successful business. If you're looking for God in your life, you need to have somebody that's above you, that understands God, that understands prayer, that understands spirituality, that understands what it's like to actually have faith or to walk through something with faith and to have hope. And whenever it is that you actually are going through a trial or something that's like a turbulation time for you, look at people that have integrity, that can bring you up, that can coach you, that can mentor you. A lot of churches right now, I know that they're moving towards a coaching, mentoring type system where it's not just one person that's in charge. They're raising up disciples so that there's teams of people that can come out and raise people up. And if you're not aware of that, you can get aware of it because there's incredible abundance when you raise other people up and when you have that type of mentality. If it's your health, if it's your wellness, you could certainly pursue getting a personal trainer. You could look at going to a gym and talking to somebody about how to actually look at your health or your nutrition or things like that. Getting accountable to somebody is important. With your life, that's where I come in. I can help you get accountable and move forward with the right strategies by supporting you, guiding you, having you trust in me as we go along that process so that you can move forward, so that when you get stuck and you think that you're on your knees again, that you can move forward. I just got a text from somebody today. He said to me, hey Scott, I really want a session. Can we have one tomorrow? Can we look at our calendar? Because I really feel like I'm out of balance today. Hey, I'm here for him. Let's set it up. Let's figure out how we can move you forward. That's what I love to do. I connect people like that to their authentic, amazing self so that they can raise their life up and have that passion and abundance that they want and figure out where they need to go. And in that case, it was figuring out how to have more balance. So we're going to do that tomorrow. I don't say all of this because, hey, I'm a coach and everybody should come to coaching. Mentors are powerful. And I have succeeded in my life because there's important, influential people in my life. Somebody that was on episode 104, his name is Frank Miklas, was a mentor to me. And why? Because he was somebody that had great integrity, and he taught me things when I was really young. When I was 13 years old, he started to sow into me and teach me that I could have more than I had today, and that I could look at the world from a different perspective, and I could work with values and principles, and that I could succeed. And he opened up my eyes to possibilities. There's people in your life that you could choose to have a mentor, but how many times have you actually called somebody that you would love to mastermind with, or you would love to approach, but you just haven't? I challenge you today, if you want to look for a mentor, ask somebody that is at a higher place. Hey, would you mind meeting me once a month? Something like that. I'll buy you dinner. I'll buy you lunch. Help me with some of the things I'm going through. I know that there's a number of people that have called me, and I actually have become friends with some of those people that have called me to do that. Now, of course, I've switched, and now I'm in coaching, so people now call me, of course, with my occupation of coaching. And that's really what I do, is I listen deeply. I understand. I help reflect. I help change, help people see things from different perspectives, from different angles. I bring them through processes and strategies so that they can move forward, get unstuck. Move forward, because life is awesome. Life is worth living. There's so many amazing things about life. So listen, the 5 strategies to getting unstuck so that you can have anything you want in your life, including passion, abundance, including finding your purpose, including winning, are: number 1, discover yourself early and often. Number 2, living with balance and having balance and gaining momentum in your life. Number 3, discovering your areas of trouble and working through those. Number 4, building an overflow in your life. And number 5, getting accountable to a coach or a mentor. And I really hope that you've benefited from these 5 strategies. They've helped me succeed at life. They've helped me to have the life that I have today and the life that I'm going to have tomorrow. And I know that they will help you. So if you want any more information, if you want to approach me for coaching, just go to abundancecoaching.ca, click on the complimentary coaching session button and book a session. And I will help you move forward so that you can have that knowledge and that awareness and that actualization that you are unstuck and that you're moving forward and that you're living with passion, you're having abundance, you know your direction, and that you're winning at your game of life. Once again, this is Scott here with Abundance Coaching. I trust that you enjoyed that information and that you'll take it to heart. Until we chat again, live with passion and have abundance in life.